Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast Radio.
Well, the men and women of Ireland breathed a collective sigh of relief last week when it was announced that the reopening of barbers and salons was being brought forward by 3 weeks to next Monday. Danielle Kennedy, the new president of the Irish Hairdressers Federation, joins me on the phone now to discuss the much anticipated return and what customers can expect when they visit the hairdressers. Danielle, maybe start by reminding us about the scale of the hairdressing industry in Ireland and the contribution which it makes to the economy.
Good morning. Yeah, so the hairdressing sector, it represents quite a large sector of the economy. There's about 25,000 people employed in the industry in Ireland. It's a significant industry. I think before this, maybe sometimes it could have been underestimated what a vital service we offer in the community. And we're really, really excited to get back open, albeit in a slightly different manner than what we previously were operating under.
And of course, you're the owner of Lloyd's Hair Salon in both Wexford and Waterford. So how did you cope with your business being shuttered for 3.5 months?
It's a very long time. And it's tough, you know, we've a large team. We kind of pride ourselves on having a good relationship with our team, and just that Sunday night when we had to contact everyone and let them know they were on temporary layoff, it was definitely the most difficult decision we ever had to make as salon owners.
And how critical for the industry was it that the government brought the reopening date forward by 3 weeks?
Look, those 3 weeks in business make a huge difference. At the Irish Hairdressers Federation, we said as soon as the roadmap was brought out, comparable to other countries, we were way down the end. We were one of the last industries to reopen, whereas in other EU countries, the salons had reopened after about 6 to 8 weeks on average. So we lobbied immediately to try get brought forward to phase 3. You know, salons, they're already very sanitary environments. We're very well equipped to operate within the government's return to work safely protocols. And those 3 weeks, as a business owner, we all know they make a very big dent in paying the bills that have accumulated while we were closed. The government, they've done an amazing job of looking after us all, and, you know, they've brought in grants, and we had the pandemic unemployment payments, but the bills that have racked up while everyone has been closed far exceeds the grants available. So it was very important that we got back open once it was safe to do so.
And Danielle, as hairdressers and barbers reopened their doors on Monday, what changes should customers expect?
So there will be a certain level of the hospitality element of the hairdressing experience that will be temporarily missing. But, you know, that what I'm saying to our own clients and we're saying to members is that connection between the stylist and the client, that's still going to be there, and it's still going to be a very positive experience, albeit with some minor changes. We'll have no magazines, there'll be no refreshments on the premises, and the client and the stylist will be wearing face masks.
And are your members anxious about what the new work practices will entail?
Our members will be quite well prepared, so we have started preparing them in May, just in anticipation that we could have been brought forward. So we had all our members doing health and safety courses. We've shown them how to train their teams and get all their teams ready for reopening, how to adapt their services to maximise social distancing and limit contact as much as possible. So I think everyone is very prepared and very excited now to get back open. We've put in the work, we've put in weeks and weeks of work getting ready, so we're very excited now to open up the doors and meet our clients again.
And prior to the announcement that hairdressers and barbers could get back to business, what guidelines did the Irish Hairdressers Federation publish with regard to changes that would be needed for a typical hairdressing service, and how much did you learn from what was happening overseas?
I suppose we're very lucky in a sense that we did have the knowledge of what had happened overseas, and because their salons had opened so much earlier than ours, we had the knowledge that what was working, what wasn't working. We spent 6 weeks coming together with all the other representative bodies in the hairdressing and the barbering and the beauty industry, preparing our guidelines. And as I said, we do operate in very sanitary environments anyway. We're used to disinfecting and sanitising our tools and brushes after every client. So it was just a matter of taking that sanitisation level up a notch.
And typically, what level of cost have business owners had to incur to comply with these new guidelines?
There is a slight cost. The cost is mainly down to your social distancing. Your PPE is your easy bit. It's a couple of euros per client. The main cost that salons are going to have is going to be dependent on what the social distancing rule is. So if it's 2 metres, obviously salons are going to be quite restricted in the amount of clients that they will do in a day. But if it's at 1 metre, the effect of that will be quite minimal.
And are we likely to see price increases in a bid to recoup the cost of this investment and the lost revenue for the past 3 months?
You won't see price increases to try and recoup lost revenue for the last few months. You will see small temporary price increases to cover the temporary increase in the cost of running the business while we're kind of operating at these levels. But, we will stress they are temporary measures, and we would anticipate that all the price increases are temporary as well.
And Danielle, with hairdressers now operating at a reduced capacity, can we expect long waiting lists?
So there is waiting lists at the moment because obviously every client of every salon all wants to get in at the same time. But after about 2 to 3 weeks, we estimate that most of the salons' waiting lists will be gone down and they should be almost gone back to normal levels.
So in the meantime, are you expecting that many hairdressing salons and barber shops will be extending their opening hours?
Quite a lot. Most are extending their opening hours. Say in my own, we're just on Monday, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We've opened for an extra 2 hours in the evening. It doesn't seem like much just, for everyone to do an extra 2, 3 or 4 hours a week. But that will really make a difference in terms of getting our clients looked after.
And of course, we've seen barber shops over the last number of years, some of them transitioning to appointment systems. Is that going to become the norm now in the barber business going forward?
I have spoken to a few barbers who said they're temporarily going to operate on an appointment basis. Our salon in Waterford is actually a walk-in only. So for the first month, we are going to operate on appointments, and we would hope to be able to reverse back to our walk-in system after that. But the walk-in systems can still be... You can still do a walk-in system, but you just need to have your procedure in place and that your building can accommodate your waiting area.
And from a practical perspective, what will hairdressers and barbers be required to do between appointments?
Yeah, so there will be a couple of minute gap in between clients so that the stylists can completely sanitise down the station, completely sanitise all their tools. We're actually, in the Irish Hairdressers Federation at the minute, we're looking at all the different types of disinfectants, and we're working with a health and safety auditor on that to see which ones to recommend to our members, because some of them can work in as little as 1 minute. So you just need to sanitise them, and then within 1 minute, it's actually perfectly safe to use on the next client. So there should be just a couple of minute layover between clients, completely sanitise down the station, a change in PPE, and then we're good to go.
Danielle, in some respects, hairdressers and barbers will always be in demand. So as you look past the initial reopening phase, do you expect that revenues will be consistent with previous years for the second half of 2020?
I think after our initial opening phase, there is going to be a drop. We're already down over 25% of our years overall taken because of the length of time we've been closed. And so it is going to be a tough year for salons, and it's on the back of another 2 tough years where we had a VAT increase and we had the abolishment of the trainee wages, which were 2 hits to the industry over the last few years. So to have another year, say, where the industry has taken a hit, it's going to be quite difficult. But typically we're not recession proof. I wouldn't go that far, but we are a high street staple. Even during the last recession, your salons are the ones that still remained on your high street, still remained, bringing footfall into your city and town centres. So although it will be tough, we're a very robust industry, and I think we'll all get through it.
And Danielle, have you heard any stories from members that have decided not to reopen their salons as a result of the social distancing requirements?
I have. Unfortunately, we have had a small number of our members have said that they won't be reopening. And we have some that have said, maybe they have health issues and that who've decided they're not going to open until later in the year.
Danielle, as the president of the Irish Hairdressers Federation, what challenges are facing your members in the months ahead?
So Our challenges mainly going forward are going to be our financial challenges. We're making plans to start lobbying for funding and support for the industry. One of the areas that we are very concerned about is our trainees in the industry. So last year, with the abolishment of the trainee wage rates, hiring of first-year trainees in the industry was reduced. And then obviously this year, because salons have been closed and now money might be tight for the year, salons are going to reduce their normal hiring levels again. And that's a worry because we are an industry that has a skill shortage at the moment. So in 2 years' time, we're going to feel this skill shortage again. So we will also be lobbying government to see if we can get some sort of a trainee wage subsidy scheme.
Now, Danielle, there was much talk during the lockdown about a black market emerging for haircuts. How prevalent was this, and does it pose any longer-term threat to the business?
There was a lot of talk of it, unfortunately. I suppose the thing with the black market is, because it's a black market, you can't put a figure on it, but we are pretty certain that it was a very small number of the industry that were operating under the black market. So we don't see it as a future threat to the industry.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Danielle Kennedy, owner of Lloyd's Hair Salon in Wexford and the president of the Irish Hairdressers Federation, and we wish all the hairdressers and barbers every success as they reopen their businesses.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast